Last week, I spent an hour or so playing with a new tool just to see what it can do. And for those of you who are curious, the WordPress editor Divi has a new tool that uses AI to provide help with images and website copy. And while it was impressive and fun playing with that AI tool, afterwards, when I looked at what I'd accomplished, I wasn't convinced that it was time that was well spent. Not because the tool was no good, it was good. It was pretty impressive, in fact. No, it's because I was using it on a passive income website that I've been building over the last year or so. And like all projects that are side projects, progress is really super slow. It's not my top priority, so it only gets a little bit of love every 3 months or so, which, if you know anything about content websites, that's not enough to move the needle on anything. Hi, I'm Trudy Rankin, and I want to welcome you to the Online Business Launchpad podcast. Every now and again, I share what I've been working on and the things that I've learned during my journey into the world of online business. And in today's episode, I want to talk about the pros and cons of buying versus building a content-based online business. Now, what I mean by a content-based online business is a business that generates its revenue primarily through the website itself, either through ads, affiliate sales, and sponsorships, or a mix or two, or all three of them. Now, these types of businesses can sell for quite a lot on websites like Flippa or Empire Builders and other sales platforms, or for not a lot. Some of the starter sites can be had for like around $2,000 USD or less. And by starter site, I mean sites that are under a year old and or they haven't started generating income yet or revenue yet. Back in episode 150 of this podcast, I interviewed Sophie Howard, who's the founder of Aspiring Entrepreneurs. And Sophie has had a lot of experience in buying and building up online businesses, including several different types of content-based websites. And recently, she launched her Freedom Navigators course, which teaches people how to also buy and build up online businesses. And I was super delighted when Sophie offered to give me access to the course, and I've been digging into it with enthusiasm ever since. And I have been doing my homework and I've been reviewing a whole heap of website businesses that are for sale. And it has been a journey because there's a lot of information gathering involved, not to mention trying to figure out whether the business model is a good fit for my interests and capabilities. And because I've also got my little side projects going on where I've been building up my own version of a content-based online business, I thought I would share with you some of the pros and cons that I see both ways based on what I've experienced so far. So let's start with the pros of building a content-based online business from scratch. The first thing is you get to shape what it all looks like in terms of what the website is about, how it's branded, how you monetize it. And the second thing is you get to choose what platform it's built on, where it's hosted, what editor to use to update the site, etc. So you get a lot of choice in terms of the technology that you use. And then you also get to choose who you partner with in terms of affiliates, ad platforms, and any sponsors that you end up getting. But there are some downsides as well. Now, it can take, and I can tell you this from experience, it can take 6 months or more to build up a solid body of content that is useful and of value to people so that they want to come to the website and look at it. And it can take even longer for Google to notice you. Now, there are things you can do to speed things up a bit, but there's no getting past the fact that it just takes time to get the whole thing to the point where it's generating the amount of money that you need it to generate in order to support yourself and your family, or even get it to the point where it's just helping with some of the bills. So you have to have enough money, or runway as some people call it, to invest the money and the time to develop the site and then be able to hang in there long enough to start getting money back in return. And if, like me, you do not have wonderful design skills, you have to figure out a way to get the website designed. And whether that's by muddling through yourself or by hiring somebody to help, or maybe if you're really lucky, partnering with someone who does that for you in return for a percentage of the profits when they do start coming in. And the same holds true for being able to write SEO optimized website copy. I'm getting better at it. There's something I'm still working on learning to get really good at. But if you don't know how to do it, you really do need someone to help you. And that help doesn't come cheap. Or you can choose to cross your fingers and hope that somehow your efforts will somehow magically hit the mark and please the SEO powers that be, which of course is highly unlikely. So now let's look at the alternative, which is to buy an existing content-based online business. The pros are pretty clear cut. you get a business that's already generating revenue, and what's not to like about that? And if you have business experience, you'll be able to look at their business model and find things that you could do cheaper or more efficiently. And depending on your skill set, you may be able to fairly rapidly add value to the website. And there's so many different ways of doing that. You could add in new products or services or digital assets, or even new ways of monetizing what's already there. For example, I put in a bid on a website that I knew I could immediately add value to just by changing the way the information was laid out on the page so that people could find what they were looking for more easily, which meant they'd stay on the site longer, which would mean they would see more ads, which would mean that I would be able to generate more revenue. Sadly, I got outbid for that site. But there have been other sites I've seen where it would be a natural fit to have ads or affiliate links, but the creator, for whatever reason, hasn't got either of those on the site. Now, another pro in buying an existing website that's a content-based online business is that often the websites for sale have got teams behind them that are quite happy to stay on when the website ownership changes hands. So you have the choice of taking on the business and creating a job for yourself, or you can choose to be the boss and leave the day-to-day work with the team to do. And that's a really nice choice to have. Now, of course, if the look and the feel of the site isn't quite to your taste, or the focus is a touch different to what you would like, then you can always tweak things. Now, obviously, you would do this in a careful way so that you don't break the things that are working, but you will have a lot of leeway to put your own stamp on things. And I think that's really important. Now, obviously, there's some definite cons here, some downsides, which might mean that buying a ready-made business might not be for you. Now, for starters, if you don't have business experience, and by that I mean understanding how to actually run a profitable business, then you'll have to learn super fast, because if you don't, things are going to turn into a disaster. Or if you do want to take more control of the website and do a lot of the things yourself, but you don't have copywriting or SEO skills or website management skills yet, then you're going to need to have a team to do it for you while you're learning. And if you don't have team management skills or experience, it'll be a bit of a trial by fire to get that experience, which isn't always a bad thing, but it does make things a lot more stressful. Now, of course, the elephant in the room is that you have to have money to buy an existing business. So if you're bootstrapping and you haven't built up enough cash reserves yet so that you can afford to buy an existing business, then this probably isn't the model for you. However, if you do have some money, then it's possible to find ways of coming up with the rest of the money that you do need. Some sellers are willing to arrange vendor financing, which is really, really helpful. For myself personally, I've just gone with cash offers because I'm at the newbie end still when it comes to buying, and I only want to offer what I can afford to lose. But if you're comfortable with vendor financing, then, done right, you'll be able to use the existing income that comes in from the website to help make payments to the vendor on a regular basis until it's paid off. Now, one last caveat to buying your own content-based online business is that AI is disrupting all business models at the moment. So you need to be really careful about buying something that might get its lunch eaten by AI. I've started hearing stories about content creation companies having to close their doors because demand for their services just dropped off a cliff. However, the disruption that AI is causing also offers opportunities to taking things in a different direction. And once again, it comes down to your ability to spot opportunities and then act on those opportunities. Anyway, I think that buying an existing content-based online business is an interesting model, and I'm going to keep experimenting and learning in this space, and I'll keep sharing with you. And of course, I'll continue working on my baby embryonic content-based sites that I'm building from scratch. I've mentioned the Menopause Effect website a few times. That's themenopauseeffect.com, where I'm slowly getting deeper and richer SEO optimized content up there, thanks to the help of a really great health writer who is giving me a hand with that. And you might want to check out the latest blog post on that website, which has a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, but still serious, focus on menopause-induced body odor, which is a thing, which is interesting. I'll put the link to the post in the show notes, or you can just go to the menopauseeffect.com website and click on the blog in the menu, and you'll be able to get there that way as well. So to summarize, there are upsides and downsides to both ways of getting a content-based online business going. If you are starting from scratch, you're going to need to build skills, or if you're starting from scratch or you need to build skills, and or you don't have a lot of money or experience, then I'd advise you to build what you want and then use that experience to learn what works and what doesn't. And then later you can look at buying an existing business. But if you already have some experience and or skills and you're keen to have something that's already generating revenue, then you want to have a look at buying an existing site. I'll put links in the show notes to some of the website sales platforms that Sophie's told me about and some of the ones that I've discovered as well. And if you're interested in doing Sophie's Freedom Navigator course and learning the secrets to successfully buying and growing an existing website, I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well so that you can take a look. And just for clarity's sake, I'm an affiliate for the course. I found it really super useful, very helpful. Sophie knows what she's doing and she's done a good job of putting the course together. So I'll put the link to that in the show notes. Now, I hope that's been helpful. I'll do more updates in the future and share what I've learned. And I hope the rest of your week goes really well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.